All right, it's Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Michael Pless. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing great, Gene. As always, another week of football coming up, so I'm excited for that. But I wish we were coming off a win. Time for redemption.
That's right, because it is a home game. Got to defend the Bay. All right, and I'm joined tonight by Mark from Real Bucs Talk. Anytime we can get this guy on, it's gold. That's all I got to say. Gold, right?
I'm happy to be on, Gene. Always happy to be on. Just got to find that time, right?
That's right, man. We make it work, man. We'll fit you in some way or another. Mike was against you coming on, but I said, hey, we got to get him on here.
Hammer fist. The hammer fist.
Yeah. Well, as Mike mentioned, I don't even know where to start. The Buccaneers faced the Minnesota Vikings, and it didn't turn out like we hoped it would. And Mike, I'm going to start with you. Let me get your analysis of that game, and what were your takeaways from it?
Well, I think number one takeaway is just missed opportunities. I think, especially for offense, as far as offense goes, and then defensively, we go into that game without four starters pretty much, and it just seemed like game plan was just off. I don't know what was the coverage and the defensive line just weren't on the same page as far as their rush coverage. When Case Keenum can get the ball out in 2 seconds, I mean, it's hard to get after the quarterback. It just didn't work for the defense. But I thought the offense had opportunities to make this a game, and unfortunately, we just weren't able to take advantage of those one-on-one matchups, and the game just got out of reach. Just didn't work.
Yeah. You know what? It's one of those things we got to put it behind us and keep it moving. Mark, what were your takeaways of the game?
I mean, biggest takeaway, the corners played awful. Plain and simple, they just did. I mean, not having Grimes is a big deal. Obviously, Ryan Smith still does need to learn the defense and learn just how to stick on guys better. I mean, he's very aggressive. I love that, but he needs to still learn from Grimes, and Hargraves just needs to do better. I don't know why they were playing so far back, at least 10 yards back majority of the time, and still getting beat off one move. It's not like a double move or anything. Just one move and go, they're getting beat. That upset me. The whole secondary upset me. Golson, Beckwith, I loved how they played. Offense, like Mike was saying, it's a lot of good. Yeah, Winston had 3 very bad decisions, or 1 bad underthrow and 2 bad decisions, but whenever we spread them out wide, there's always someone open. Like, going back and looking at the tape, you're happy to see all these wide open people. Like, Hump's open, Howard's open. He just needs to find them. And I think it's just learning how to deal with all your new toys, and don't just listen to all of them yelling, oh, Deshaun, I want the ball. Jackson or Evans, I want the ball. Like, he'll tell you, I'm going to give you the ball, but let me find you. And I think he just needs to quiet the noise and find them better.
Yeah. And for me, Jameis got it. Jameis has to do better. If you've listened to Buck What You Heard, if you've seen this podcast, I'm all about Jameis Winston. But I'm sorry, I'm going to put this out there. Chicago Bears, 0 interceptions. Minnesota Vikings, 3 interceptions. Like night and day, and he's got to do better. You have to take what the defense gives you. I understand that Mike Evans wants the ball. I understand that Deshaun Jackson wants the ball, but you've got a lot of other open players that are running open, running wild. They all have to be part of this winning. The whole winning deal. And we didn't see it. You saw him staring players, as you guys both mentioned. He was staring players down, and it just wasn't getting done. So this is something that Tampa, I mean, this has to be on his mind. I don't want to take away from his natural ability to make plays out of nothing, but at the same time, you have to put your team in a position to continue to succeed, and we didn't see it. And Mike, I want to go to you, and I want to know, in your opinion, when you're looking at the Minnesota Vikings defense, how good are they really? Was it Tampa, or was it a lot of what Minnesota was doing?
I think it was a combination of both. I mean, you have to give Minnesota some credit, but a lot of it was on Tampa. I think Jameis was just missing opportunities, and going into the game, we were talking about how if Jameis has time, he should be able to dissect this defense and make things happen. And the matchups were there. I mean, guys were running open, so there was options, as Mark mentioned in the tape. I mean, Jameis just didn't hit him. I mean, you have a chance to make it a game at 14-10 if you hit that Jackson pass in the end zone, and he underthrew him and it gets picked off. I mean, he's got to be able to put that ball at least fun zone, and it's probably an easy touchdown. So 14-10, game's going to turn after that. A lot of momentum. And the defense, might play better, and who knows what happens after that. So, I thought the offense as a whole just missed a lot of opportunities. And the funny thing is, he had time to make throws. I mean, the pass protection was pretty decent, throughout the game. So, worked this time, but he's got a chance to redeem himself against two really good quarterbacks, and Eli Manning and Tom Brady coming up. So,
I saw that look. Mark, I'm going to you. I want you to kind of explain that look that we just saw here, that your face popped up on the screen. Come on, let's hear it. Let's see what you're talking about here.
No, I mean, like you said, two quarterbacks are coming up. I mean, they're both at home, but Jesus, 2 Super Bowls for Eli and 5 for Brady. I mean, those are pretty damn good winningest quarterbacks. I'm more scared of Brady, obviously, because Manning's going to throw the occasional pick and hopefully give this defense some more confidence again. But if you got to look at what the Giants can bring. They have a crap ton of weapons. You just got to use them correctly. I mean, hopefully he doesn't have any time.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, I do want to drop a public service announcement right now. Dalvin Cook is not a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He's not going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in the near future. So let's move on. Okay. This is game 2 that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have played. They won the first one. They lost the second one. Let's move on. And I had to get off social media during this game because people were jumping out the window over this game. Like this is the last game of the season. And what we saw, and this is just my personal opinion, we saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past Sunday, and it's, to me, a reversal of fortune because I expected to see this game last week against the Chicago Bears, as Tampa had not played together collectively. And what they did last week, it kind of caught me by surprise because I wasn't expecting it. And what we saw this last game against the Vikings is what I expected the week before. So to me, we still haven't seen what Tampa's got, and you guys just have to be patient. It's a long season to go. This is the second game in, a lot of football to be played. So come on, let's get it together. We're a fan base, and let's move on to the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys aren't helping me out here. Come on, help me out.
Oh, okay, fine. Dalvin Cook, he did look good though. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he did. Don't get me wrong, he did. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We may see OJ Howard. We may be talking about OJ Howard and not talking about Dalvin Cook in a couple of years. So, again, this is only the second game into the season, and we haven't seen anything that OJ Howard can do. So, again, we didn't have Tampa didn't have their whole defense out. You were out Grimes. You didn't have Levante David got injured. Jacquez Smith was out. Chris Baker was out. There were just a lot of players that weren't there. And I'm not making excuses because it's supposed to be next man up. But at the end of the day, you haven't really seen everything that Tampa can do. and I'm expecting bigger things from them as we move forward.
Yeah, let me say, like someone said, "Oh, looks like we've got the wrong first pick. We should have taken Cook over Howard." Are you joking? It's 2 damn games in.
Yeah,
and Cook's going to get the ball because he's a running back. He just gets the ball and runs. O.J. Howard has to get the ball thrown to him. If you look at O.J. Howard blocking, he can go one-on-one against Everson Griffin and do just damn fine. He did do that just damn fine. And he does a lot of chips and he gets out and he's open a lot of the time. And he got one good pass from Winston on the first drive that looked awesome. And I want to see more of that. It's just he's not getting the ball as easily as Cook is. Let Winston learn how to use him. It's not like Howard's not doing a good job. He's doing what he has to do, and he's doing the best, I think, of all the tight ends in blocking. Like Stalker's known for his blocking. I think Howard's doing way better than him. Brait, you know how his blocking is. He's more of a chip and then go out. But Howard's doing just fine. Don't get mad at him just because he is not getting 8 to 10 catches a damn game. Like Cook's getting 20 touches a game. What do you expect is going to happen? His name's going to be out there more than everyone else. So calm the hell down, people. Like, Jesus. Or the crowd saying.
My biggest thing is what he does away from the ball. The blocking, his ability to block. When was the last time that Tampa's had a blocking tight end like this who has hands? I mean, I know he's been dropping balls in camp, but as we've seen as the season's progressed, he's gotten better about catching those balls. Would you guys agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just people want, instant results, and that's what it's about. And Cook was probably the more flashy pick, but I mean, OJ Howard is going to be a Pro Bowler in this league. He's going to be one of the better tight ends as he continues to mature and get better and learn the game. So I mean, there's really no reason to call OJ Howard a bust or say all this crap about oh, we should have taken Dalvin Cook. That's the past. I mean, it's gone. We can't change it. We have a great tight end in OJ Howard, and I expect him as the season progresses. I mean, he's going to get more targets, and he's going to be one of the main guys that we lean on in this offense going forward. So, I would just say, be lucky that we have him. I mean, he's going to be a great player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what people fail to understand is that Cameron Brate and OJ Howard, Cameron Brate and Jameis Winston have a connection. They work well together, and that's like Jameis's security blanket is Cameron Brate, as you saw with that touchdown that he threw. He's somebody that he feels comfortable with, and he can get the ball to him, and he knows what he's got. Adam Humphries, another guy that nothing flashy about him, but he's there and he's reliable.
Yeah, it's building trust. We said this in the offseason. Brate's going to get more of the touches because he just trusts him and he knows the offense better. Let OJ Howard learn the offense better, but he'd let him do what he does best. Let him block first, and then slowly get introduced to the routes. And he's not going to be a number one target. He's behind Evans and Jackson and Brate. So what else do you want him to do? He'll learn the offense and he'll get there. People just need to hit the brakes.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, quick question. Eric Moreno was asking, 2 games in 5 days. Do you think Quan plays on Saturday? Or I'm sorry, on Sunday? Or where is he at with his injuries?
Not practicing.
Yeah, I mean,
I noticed he didn't practice. What about is there anything that or is Dirk Cutter playing as close to the vest?
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping he plays this week, but I mean, again, it's a hamstring, so I mean, those are tough to push. You don't want to force the issue. I think realistically, I mean, he's probably out again this week. It depends. You don't want David and Alexander both out. I mean, that's a big hit to your defense. You like to get one of those guys back in there, but the Bucs are going to play it on, side of precaution just because we don't have a bye week, and you just got to roll with it. I mean, next man up. Hopefully, Kendall Beckwith can continue to make strides as he has, and Darius Glanton I think is a solid backup, so serviceable. And, Devontae Bond, I mean, he played a little bit last week, so hopefully he can make some plays. I
So
mean, it's
let
going to
me
be
ask you this:
interesting.
what are your thoughts about Devontae Bond? Do you see him making an impact as the season progresses?
I mean, he looked rusty. I mean, it showed. I mean, there was some plays where he just got sucked in too much as far as the run. But I mean, he's an aggressive player, and I think if they can, I would like to see them use him on the edge as an edge rusher for sure. I think getting Ryan Russell out of there, I think needs to be a priority. The guy just he has a lot of effort, but he just doesn't have any bend. I mean, he'll get past the edge, but he doesn't know how to turn that corner. So hopefully we can get Noah Spence and Jack Smith in there this week. That'll be huge practice. So that's something to look for.
They were both full practice, so that's very encouraging for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to be honest. Another guy, and let me, and I have to get this out here too. Like I do, I told you guys I'm gonna do this every single podcast. I apologize about Kendall Beckwith. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I mean, I'm going all the way back to the draft, all the way up to now. What this guy's been doing has been nothing short of spectacular for me because I had zero expectations about him. So what he's doing, I'm excited about, and I'm glad I was wrong.
Oh, I fully agree with you, Gene. Fully. Like, I mean, we drafted him for the run game. He's dominating the run game. He's still got to learn the passing game. Like, he doesn't do anything there. Like, he's kind of like flat-footed in there. And that's why that's called Levante Davids aren't all over the damn place. Like, you're just a rare breed, a guy who can do both and rush the passer. But Beckwith, he had some damn plays. Like, there was one play that the center tried to come in on him, and he throws the center into Cook. And he didn't make the tackle, but I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, you didn't see that in LSU. Like,
no, you didn't. I mean, you had to go back to his junior year to see that kind of play.
Yeah, just I didn't see that fire and willingness to throw your body in there. He was more of like, okay, the run would come to him and he'd make the tackle. Like, he's going in. I mean, he's still got to learn against pass. That's why it's scary against the Giants. They're gonna have to pass the ball because they can't run the ball at all. So we got a lot of good run stoppers in Beckwith and Glanton and Bond. That's what they do. Like they're a liability in the pass. That's why I'm a little scared of that. Because Bond, I think, should be used just like how David is used. Because he's not going to be there. So let him do it. Let him blitz in. Let him not think about it. Go in. He's got a good bunch of pass rush ability because he did it in Oklahoma. And we saw something in practice where he did a damn spin move on someone that looked nasty. I want to see him use some of that. And he's just good with his hands. He's really good with his hands and block shedding. So I think he could be used in that Levante David role and blitzing a lot. So don't let him think. Just let him go. But Glanton's going to have to step up and do some pass coverage.
All right. Well, let me get you guys' final thoughts on the Vikings game. I want to move on to the Giants game because this game is very intriguing to me because I got to watch the Giants-Eagles game. So, Mark, I'm going to start with you this time. Give me your final thoughts on the Vikings game, and I want you to give me the upside and the downside to what you saw.
All right, so you want good or bad first?
Your choice, man. You're the guest.
Okay. All right, so good. Like I said earlier, there's going to be people open. This offense can be dynamic and explosive. You just got to be patient with it. Winston needs to stop looking for the Hail Mary first damn play. Be a chessboard. Give them the little dink and dunks until they start respecting that, and then you beat them over the top. He needs to calm down and learn how to be a more mature player. But that's there. Beckwith and William Golson. William Golson played like a man. Like if you're a defensive end, you lead the team in tackles, you're playing lights out. Like he needs some more respect. No one's talking about him. Everyone talks about Spencer McCoy. He signed his big contract and he's still playing at a high level. Yeah. I want to see him do some more pass rush, but he played amazing in my eyes. To be honest, the good, that's about the good. Like the offense, I will want to talk more good about him, but it's all built around Winston making good decisions. The bad, corner secondary looked abysmal. Like Conti was lost. I try and stick up for Conti a lot, but he was very lost that game. Tandy got sucked into the run a lot too, and he got beat over the top. Hargraves, what are you doing, buddy? Ryan Smith needs to learn, but really, it's just our secondary needs to do better. Like that's my biggest shame. And Winston needs to make decisions better. Like he can't be. Just go for the one-on-ones. Stop looking, staring down people. If you see there's any guys near Evans, 3 guys, go somewhere else immediately.
Yeah.
Like he needs to read that quicker and just.
That means somebody else is open, wide open.
Yeah, because I can literally go back and tell you there's wide open, not like, oh, there's one-on-one, wide open guys on each of his interceptions. And I'm like, God, like just look around. Look before you unload, just look around and don't force. And I hope he thinks that way against the Giants.
Michael Pless, same question.
Yeah, I mean, my final takes, I mean, it's, I look at it and I think what the Bucs need to do is just stick to what they do best, and that is on both sides of the ball, they need to be aggressive, but at the same time, they need to have a balanced attack, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, we have to be able to run the football. I don't care if it's 2 yards a carry or 3 yards a carry. What I mean by that is you have to establish the run. You have to at least run it at least 20 times a game. You can't have a ratio where it's 40-9. You're just not going to win many football games that way. Now I know the game got out of hand, but you still have to be able to, display threat of the run where you can open up that play action passing game, because that's where Jameis is at his best, where he can just do a simple play action and find one target to look at, and usually it's open. So I think on the offensive side, it's, just finding that balanced attack that we need to stick with it. And then defensively, we need to be aggressive as far as our coverage goes, as far as our, playing more press man and getting after the quarterback. You can't allow the quarterback to give her the ball in 2 seconds. It's just not going to work for your pass rush. You're going to struggle often, and it's going to lead to allowing quarterbacks to complete the ball for 70% of the time. You just can't have that. You have to make the quarterback hold the football at least for 3 or 4 seconds. And that usually you can either create turnovers that way, or, something's good going to happen. So I think defensively, we just need to get back to what we did last year as far as, playing that aggressive style and anticipating and going after the football, flying to the ball and making sure we're swarming at all times.
Okay. And Michael, I'm glad you brought that up. I want to kind of go back to you with this question here. Do you see this as a play calling issue or as an execution issue? What we saw against the Vikings?
I just thought the overall game plan for the Vikings, especially on the defensive side of the ball, just wasn't very good. I think it was a lot of too much cover 3, and a lot of zone coverage where, and even if they mixed it up to man coverage, there was no help over the top, and it just put our corners on an island, and we just couldn't afford to do that, especially with Ryan Smith in there. And Vernon Hargraves, struggling, because he was indecisive a lot of the time throughout the game, and it caused confusion. So I thought we should have been more aggressive. I thought we should have been playing more to the line of scrimmage and making Case Keenum hold that football a little bit more and making him indecisive. And I think he would have panicked, probably thrown a couple picks, and would have helped us out. But that's just my opinion. That's what I saw. Especially on I think it was 3rd and 14. I mean, why are you playing off coverage? You got to get up near the first down marker and guard that line. There's really no reason for that. So, just little things, but again, these can be fixed. I think with the players that were out, now they're coming back in. I think that's going to have a huge effect. Getting Chris Baker back, hopefully getting one of your linebackers back will be huge. I mean, it's obvious we miss Quan Alexander because he is the leader of this defense. He knows how to get everybody in place. And again, with a rookie linebacker, there could have been some miscommunication there. So, I mean, that does have an impact. But getting Brent Grimes will be huge. I think the defense will be fine. I'm not worried about it. I think they'll get better. They showed the potential of what they can be, so I think they'll get back there to it.
Yeah, and guys, thank you for this. I mean, this is very insightful what you're putting out here, and I 100% agree with you. There were just some key players that weren't in. The Buccaneers need to learn from this because this is going to be a long season. No bye week. The Bucs are playing all the way to the end. And so you're going to have those situations where it's next man up. Tampa had this situation last year where players were injured and other players just didn't step up. And that's kind of what you need to see. However, kind of going back, and these are just my final thoughts on this, Jameis Winston has to do better. I have high expectations for him because of what I know he's capable of doing. You win a national championship. You come in your rookie season and you go to a Pro Bowl and you continue to throw 4,000 yards, continuously. I mean, those are huge things, and you have to build on those. He's got 2 years in the NFL under his belt, so he knows what's required of him. And just kind of settling down, as Mark mentioned, being able to settle down and take what the defense gives you and stretch these plays out. You may not get a first down on the first play, but, second, third down, it's possible that you're able to move the chains. So that's going to be key is Jameis Winston being able to keep the plays moving and keep the chains, moving the chains on down the field. And again, red zone is important. And I can't express this enough. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but the red zone is huge. I mean, with the weapons that Jameis Winston has, I know that there are a lot of new players for him, and he's getting familiar with some, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But again, I have high expectations for Jameis Winston because I know what he's capable of doing. So, this game, I hope this is a learning lesson for him where he can say, hey, I put this team in a bad situation. I can move on from this and improve. Because again, 0 interceptions against Chicago, 3 interceptions against the Minnesota Vikings. That's big. That's big. I don't care how you look at it. That's huge. So it's just important for him to make those plays because that's what he's here for. I want to move on to the New York Football Giants, who Tampa is facing at Raymond James Stadium. And Mark, I'm going to start with you. What is your assessment of the 0-3 New York Football Giants, and what do you think it's going to take for Tampa to pull out a win against them?
All right, well, the Giants, they're desperate for a win. They're going to be trying everything. Like, they scored all their points against the Eagles in the fourth quarter because they had to pass the ball. They can't run the ball at all. They're kind of like us. They have a whole bunch of weapons. Our offensive line's doing better than theirs. Their offensive line's just Swiss damn cheese. Like, they have all the wide receivers you want. They have a slot like Humphreys and Sterling Shepard. They have the game breaker Odell Beckham, and they have Brandon Marshall. He's a consistent player. Like, you just need to get him the ball. Eli's probably doing the same thing, trying to find how to use all of his damn weapons. Paul Perkins, poor guy. He can't run damn thing. That line's killing him. But I think we need to get pressure. Do not let Eli think. Let him throw it right to our hands and get a pick six. I mean, I was watching the Lions game against the Giants. The Lions manhandled that line. Eric Flowers is just an Olay. He wants people to get Eli down. But their linebackers, very suspect. Very, very. Like, I would attack their linebackers. Eli Apple, I would attack. Just stay away from Landon Collins. Whoever's – just watch him, Winston. But they're very desperate for a win. They don't want to go 0-4. I know Bucs fans think, it's going to be so easy to get them to lose. No, come on. Like, they're going to want to win just as much as we want to come back after we're getting blown out. So I think it'll be a good game no matter what. I still think we're going to win because I think this defense has got a bad taste in its mouth from what the hell they did in the Vikings. But it's just making them one way, take away that run, which everyone's easily been doing, and make Eli make the mistakes. That's a lot of what people would say with Winston, but we got to make it happen first. Winston's got to calm down, force Eli. We have better pass rush. Oh, if Jack Smith can play.
There you go. Michael Pless, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Mark said, I think, you have a desperate football team coming in here. I mean, they're 0-3. They're looking for their first win, so they're going to be pretty, fired up to do whatever it takes to win the game. So I think the Bucs need to make sure they match that intensity and come out and really get off to a fast start. I think that, that's going to be key number one. And I think Jameis has to raise his game. I mean, point and simple. He wants to be the franchise quarterback. He's got to make sure we don't lose games at home, period. You have to make sure you put your foot on their throat and never let up, and just go after it. And, you're facing Case Keenum. I mean, you got to make sure you win those games. And now you're going up against Eli Manning and Tom Brady coming up. He's got to raise his game to the next level and really be that quarterback where he's precise with the football and not forcing the issue. Taking what the defense gives him is huge. And I think, Coach Cutter needs to do a good job of that too, as far as being patient. He's preaching patience, throughout this offseason. Cutter at times tries to be a little bit too aggressive, try to push the envelope a little bit. And I think he needs to be a little bit more patient with his play calling as well, making sure he's staying balanced with the play calls. But defensively, I think we'll be fine. As Mark said, their offensive line is very, very suspect for sure. I think you attack Eric Flowers and get after it with the blitz, and be aggressive. Just stay downhill and try to contain. Don't allow any big plays, and just get after Eli Manning because he will throw the football up there.
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. I saw a bunch of that. And I want to ask you guys. I've heard this comparison, and I put this question out on Twitter about a month ago, and I wanted to know who is the one player that Jameis Winston that a lot of people compare Jameis Winston to, and a lot of people said it was Eli Manning. And what I mean by that is, 1 minute Eli Manning throws a spectacular pass, and the next minute you're like, what in the hell just happened here? And you kind of get that with him. I mean, I call Jameis Winston a blessing and a curse, only because he will make some of the most mind-boggling plays, and then all of a sudden you see a play and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But with Eli Manning he's the Tom Brady kryptonite. This guy's the real deal. Despite his record or whatever he's done, this guy's the real deal, and we saw that against the Eagles and what the Giants were able to do to get back in the game as quickly as they did, and that's just scary when you think about a Sterling Shepard, a Brandon Marshall, and Odell Beckham Jr. I don't want to leave him out of this. I realize that they don't have the running game, but again, Mike Smith, Dirk Cutter, they have to call a good game. It's important. It's vital. And secondly, the players have to go out and execute. What Jameis Winston did, with the 3 interceptions, I hate to harp on that, but that's big. That's something that has to be eliminated because this is going to be a long, long season. So we have to, as fans go out to these games and watch these games, and Jameis Winston is throwing picks. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. I mean, for the media or the fan base at all, it's something that Jameis has to be wary of, and something that he has to be able to fix. We talked about this earlier, taking what the defense gives you. If you have a chance to try for a 50-yard pass that you don't know if you're going to hit, or if you've got and it's double coverage, or if you've got a 5-yard dump off, I'm down with the 5-yard dump off just to put this team in a position to have a closer chance to getting that first down. And those are the kind of things that Tampa really does, especially the offense. With the weapons they have on offense, Tampa should be doing a lot better than what they're doing. And that's just my personal opinion based on what I saw from the game film, all the players that were running open. And there were a lot of other options other than what we saw, with those interceptions. So, Mark, I'm going to go back to you, and I want to get your keys to victory, against the New York Giants.
All right, so like you were saying, we have all these pretty weapons, we want to use him, yeah, but don't force it. I mean, what I want to do is attack the Giants linebackers. They're not athletic at all. They have Jonathan Casillas, who's probably their only athletic linebacker, but obviously he was a backup for us. He got cut by us, and he's just been bouncing around. He's very one way. He'll attack one direction. If you misguide him, he's going to be got lost. Okay, so I say do play action or make him come at you, do a screen, make him come at you, and then you have wide open space. I don't see why you should be throwing the ball 20, 30, 40 yards down the field when if you have such wide open space with all these guys, people want to double Evans or triple team Evans, double Jackson because he's too damn fast. Dump it to Hump, dump it to your running back to 5 yards. Let them
Chris
create
Godwin.
space. Godwin did very well in the fourth quarter. Crisp routes in the fourth quarter. But just don't even look deep yet. Like I was saying earlier, work the deep for later in the game. Like work the smaller routes, get Winston's head thinking, okay, safe. And then once they start thinking safe, Winston, kill him.
Right.
Hit him deep. But attack the middle. Attack the space where everyone else wants to look at Evans and Jackson because every podcast people we think and talk about the Vikings, they were saying, oh, yeah, I'll just guard Evans. He's going to throw it to force it to Evans. If everyone else is saying that, what do you think the team's thinking? Like, Winston, outsmart them.
You know what? I'm gonna put this question out here to you guys, and I kind of want to revert back to the Vikings game.
Come with me if you want to win.
Hey, tell her I've got her wine. Tell her I've got her wine.
He says he's got you wine.
Oh, and you know, kind of getting back to last week. When Mike Evans had that outburst on the sidelines, do you think that had some effect on Jameis Winston trying to force the ball to him?
Mike, answer.
And it's either of you. First. Either of you want to jump in on that, you can.
I'll jump too.
Sorry, Gene. Say that again.
When Mike Evans had that outburst on the sidelines where he was kicking stuff over and elbow dropping stuff and trying to suplex the table and he's just mad. Do you think that affected Jameis Winston in any way where he felt like he had to get the ball to him?
No, I don't think it affected. him. I think, trying to get the ball into, his playmaker's hands. Mike Evans is his best guy. So if he sees an opportunity to get Mike the ball, he's going to go after it. But again, it starts with just Jameis just being patient and finding guys who are open. I mean, you got to hit the open guy. He's got to stop thinking, oh, I can fit this ball in here, I can fit this ball there. It's just about finding, the single one-on-one matchups and attacking them and taking advantage. I mean, you have guys that can get open pretty much every down, pretty much every play. So it's just about him making the right read and getting the football into the right place and stop trying to force the issue because sometimes he gets too attached to making the big play. And it's just, you got to hit the check down at times and just let things happen. It's more important to move the chains than it is to, throw an interception or you have to punt the next play because you're not making things happen. So, but I think it starts with Cutter too. I mean, again, Cutter's got to be, enforcing it. And I think go a little no huddle, this week, to start out the game and get Jameis into a rhythm quickly if possible. I think that is very important.
Okay. Mark, your thoughts?
I wanted to add something. So during the game against the Vikings, this is leading up to the Giants. So I agree. Winston just needs to do better. I was bad-mouthing Winston left and right, but like Cutter says, I'm doing it because I love you that much as a player. Like, I know you're better than this, and you have done better in this, and you need to do better for us to win. And I was really mad, and fans were like, oh, he's going to trash mouth Winston. He hates him. I'm like, no. Listen, if you follow the podcast, if you follow Real Bucs Talk, we love Jameis Winston. We went to the draft to see him get drafted. we know in our hearts we already knew we had Winston before we even took the pick. If it was anything else, we would have been shattered.
Shirts with his face on it.
Yeah, with damn shirts with his face on it. Come on now. So we are ridiculous Winston fans. So don't get us wrong. He just needs to do better for this franchise to be where we want to be. He's the leader, and he's going to take the brute of the force of all this negative stuff. It's not negative, bad. It's constructive criticism. He needs that. Cutter does it to him. He's swear it all left and right on Hard Knocks. We're just doing it as fans. Do not side with him because, oh, Winston can't do wrong. Yet he's throwing terrible reads. Like, he needs to do better. Find the mismatches. There's mismatches all over the field. It's not just Evans on 3 guys. You got so many weapons to use, and we just want to see him use them better. And he knows he can. And I guarantee himself, when Evans went off on the sideline, he heard himself, like Winston tried to calm him down. Evans just walked the hell away. He's like, that right there, I guarantee you Winston hated that more than anything. Because he's like, I can't even call my star player down who I'm supposed to be getting the ball, but he's upset how I'm playing. Because Evans knew he was open. But sometimes he just gets locked in, and he needs to clear his mind. Start getting the dink and dunks, and then you'll respect that, and you can hit whoever the hell you want. Be the mastermind on the field. You can do that.
Yeah, because if you're excluding players like Adam Humphries, if you're excluding players like Cameron Brate, and you're focused on Mike Evans, you're focused on Deshaun Jackson. I mean, what do you think the defense is seeing this too? Defensive coordinators up in the box, they're seeing this too. Just like you said, that's a valid point. You have to be taking advantage of what the defense gives you. So, and this question here, Easy813, do you agree OJ is still a better pick? Absolutely. I'm going to go on record saying that right now, and you may not see it this season or next season, but normally it takes 3 seasons for a rookie to develop. I'm happier with this pick than I was with Austin Seferian-Jenkins. And I'm going to go a step further saying this is a more complete tight end than any tight end that Tampa has had in a long time, with his ability to block downfield, block at the line, and catch balls. And I think you're going to start to see more of it as the season progresses. Easy813, excuse me.
Fully agree.
So just kind of getting back to what we were talking about, getting back to the Giants, Eli Manning can be rattled. If the defensive line is getting pressure on him, he can be rattled into making mistakes. And we've seen this time and time again. This is something that's going to be vital. But the secondary has to do their part in making sure that these wide receivers aren't open after 2.3 seconds. And there just has to be more time for the defensive line to get back there and do what they need to do.
Right.
I agree. I mean, Eli's going to throw picks. He's thrown at least 1 pick in every game this season.
Yeah, what has he got? 4? He's got 4 interceptions already.
He's 4 in 3 games. So he's gonna throw one up to you. So be prepared. Like it may be too easy for you. He's gonna do it, whether you like it or not. Like, we love it. But just know that the offensive line is weak. That's their weak spot. Everyone's talking about it. I hope Noah Spence's shoulder is okay, and actually he can go in. I hope Jack Smith can go in too.
Practice right now, so that's very encouraging to me.
He's a monster though. I don't know how the hell he came back in the game after dislocating it too, and I give him mad respect for that. Like, I couldn't believe he did that. But
and I know neither of you guys are physicians, but do you see this shoulder injury as a potential problem throughout the season?
Well, I work in physical therapy, so I mean,
well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go right ahead, sir.
I mean, that's a whole other conversation about the team's training staff. Like, soft tissue injuries like that, like the hamstring with Quan, it happens way too often. And, like, yes, football players are a quad dominant sport. You're always moving forward. You're pushing people forward. So they got to even that out between the quads and the hamstrings. Like, you can't have.
And this is kind of interesting. Let me ask you a question, real quick, while we're on this subject. My son played football. I had a trainer come in and work with him just on his technique and his stance. and the way he was getting off the ball. And this prevented him from having, in my opinion, from having hamstring injuries because he was using proper technique. Could that be considered something, I don't know, in Noah Spence's situation, is that something that it could be technique or something that could be improved through a trainer, or what are we seeing here?
I mean, Noah Spence just goes all out all the time. So once you actually do get a dislocated shoulder, you're more prone to have it happen again. It's almost like a sprained ankle. Like once you sprain it once, you're more prone to have it happen again. But like it can be prevented. Like you can do a lot more different exercises to kind of keep your shoulder more stable and in the joint. But the thing is, it's just that technique is one thing. Having your body right is another. That's why all the best players, like Tom Brady's still playing. He's vegan. He's 40 damn years old. Like he works more of his body than it is because his technique's perfect. He works on it all the time, but now he's worried about his body. He hasn't gotten hurt since his ACL. You can't prevent an ACL. Like if someone dives at your knee, it's gone. Like you can't prevent injuries like that. But soft tissue things,
there are those injuries, yeah.
But hamstring injuries like that, where it's because they're not physically stretched out enough, or that's training staff stuff. You got to get these players' bodies ready. Like, yeah, you can be strong. Everyone's like, oh, well, work out, get your muscles stronger. No, because if your quads are that strong, you're going to pull even harder and outstretch that hamstring more. It's just all about knowing the human body and the anatomy and actually getting things properly aligned. Because if you're really tight on one side, the other one's going to get really overstretched, and boom, there goes a hamstring injury. But it's just take more time to work on your body.
Right. So you believe that these are things that are preventable?
Soft tissue things, yes. Like Levante David's injury, no. Like someone got thrown on his ankle and he had an inversion sprain. Like that's a really hard thing to do. Like that's the medial aspect of your ankle, like the inside of your ankle. So that usually will take a little while. Well, I'm hoping he can play through pain. but that I didn't see how McCoy got hurt because his is another ankle and he was in the boot. But things where you get people fall on you and actually hit you, that you can't help that. But like moving, getting your body to move easier. Like when you hear draft coverage and Mike Mallop's like, oh, he has tight hips. If you're a corner or a safety, you have tight hips, work on it. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's not just something that you can't get better at. Stretching is what you got to do. Don't get more stronger. Like you're just going to strengthen those muscles to pull you in that tight area. You got to work more on your craft, not just in technique, but getting your body right. And I talk about this all damn day at work. So, I mean, I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's kind of like what you kind of saw with Jameis Winston from his rookie season as he's kind of evolved as a quarterback. He's done a lot to work on his body. And I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about what players do in the offseason to get better, or if they do. I know, for example, Jude Aje-Barima, he worked with the same group that worked with my son, Shut Down You, in Scottsdale. And I can tell you for a fact that what he was able to do with Lovie Smith and going into the offseason and come back and still have a position with the Tampa Bay Bucs is a testament to how hard he worked to hone his craft and work on his body, just like you talked about. So I do know that's possible to do that. And, I just kind of was wondering with some of these guys who are a little bit more what I wouldn't say elite, but at a higher tier, like a Quan Alexander or Levante David, players like Brent Grimes, and are they going out and working on their bodies, or are they just doing what they need to within the facility to get better?
Big points. Very big points. That's what makes you, like you said, from elite to just a good player. Because if your body is right and it's all balanced and there's no tightness area anywhere, you can make those moves. You can turn and flip your hips and backpedal easy. You can do all these things easier if your body's loose and allowing you to do it. Like everyone thinks, your muscles got to be big, but doesn't necessarily mean they're tight. You can have flexible, big muscles. Like look at bodybuilders; they're doing splits while they're doing their routines. Like tightness isn't a good thing, especially not for football. So they're going to need to start working more on their bodies. But that's a whole other subject where I get mad and want to write about it and Bucs coaching or training staff. But let's move on to the Giants.
Yep. So we're back to the Giants. So, and I want to kind of break this down by position. And, we talked a little bit about Eli. I want to talk about the running game. And, Mark, I'm going to start with you because you had some pretty interesting comments off camera about where the Giants are, with their running game. And how do you see their running game factoring into this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
If Baker's back, they're going to do the exact same thing that they've been doing, which is nothing. Like our run D is really good. Like obviously you saw against the Bears, Jordan Howard and Cohen didn't have anything. I mean, yes, Cook did have some good runs, but look how depleted we were. Baker wasn't there. Baker's huge in the run game. He takes up two people with ease. Like I know Silver.
He's what they call a space eater.
Oh, yeah, but it's not just space. He holds them up and he'll push forward. Like I love Baker's game. Like he doesn't flash a lot, but he does a lot. You know what I mean? But if he's back, Beckwith is a monster in the run game. Golson, you already know I love Golson in the run game. We have downhill guys. I'm more scared in the pass game, but Perkins is going to get eaten up. I just strongly believe that. We're too aggressive with our defensive line. But they're going to be one-dimensional. I really believe that they're going to – same thing how we felt against the Vikings. Like, we're not running the ball. And Manny's going to have to start throwing a lot more, and that's more opportunities for us.
Yeah, okay. And Michael, I'm sorry. Yeah, Mark on the brain.
No, I completely agree with Mark. I think we're going to shut down the run. I mean, we have to. I think that's going to be first priority is, shutting down the run game. And like Mark mentioned, Chris Baker is a big factor of that. His ability to just take four hands, from the line, offensive line and draw that attention. It just frees up Gerald McCoy and Noah Spence and Golston and all the rest of the guys to make plays. So, it'll be huge. I think we'll be able to shut down the run. The running game just hasn't been there. It just really hasn't looked good. They just don't know how to back and level and make big runs. So I think we'll definitely find a way to shut it down. And, it's going to be up to our pass rush to get after Eli Manning and, make him make quick decisions.
So one of the questions out here, Corey Harris asked, if we shut down the run, do you think Tampa will go 3-4, or will we see any of that Tampa 3-4?
If we shut down,
I mean, I think we'll see it a little bit. I mean, the Bucs are going to still try to mix some looks up and try to disguise a little bit because you are going up against a veteran quarterback. So you have to make sure you're not giving away your looks at the line of scrimmage pre-snap. Try to mix it up a little bit and show a little disguise. So I think we'll see it, but I think what we need to do is just be aggressive. Like I said last week, for some reason we were playing scared, and I think this week we really need to just play the same way throughout the game, and that's aggressive style, tack downhill and swarm to the football and really lay the wood on some guys, because that's what we did against the Bears. We were hitting people. Yeah, they were catching the football, but we were right there making plays on the ball. So I think we need to get back to that and be aggressive throughout the game and really come after Eli Manning. If we're going to blitz, come with authority and really take it to him.
Yeah. You know what? That makes perfect sense. I mean, they were I can't put my finger on what Tampa was doing in this game, but it's like they were very reserved on what they were doing, and they weren't like playing like they naturally do. I kind of have to go back to last season and the Chicago Bears game as well. But you saw a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team where they had the communication down and they were just going after, whether it was a receiver, running back, whoever, they were going after people. And that's kind of what you did not see against the Vikings. They were like on their heels. It seemed like they were on their heels the whole game. And that's something that I don't know if you kind of contribute that to play calling or if it's just the overall vibe of the team. I don't want to say vibe, but how pretty much the whole team was that way.
They were letting the Vikings dictate what they were doing on defense, and you can't allow that to happen. The defense has to dictate what the offense is going to do. You got to put your scheme out there and stick to it and be aggressive. You just can't let Eli Manning do what he wants out there. You got to dictate what he's going to do and take things away from him and make things happen. Point blank.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, and that's going to be key is the defense controlling the game, and the one guy that I watched the Detroit game, I watched the whole game, and the one guy that stuck out to me was Shepard. That's and I don't know why. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Odell or Brandon Marshall on the other side, but Shepard just makes me nervous every time I see him when he's lining up and getting open the way he does. It just I don't know. I'm hoping that he's somebody that Tampa game plans for, and I want to make sure. I'm hoping that the defense makes the adjustments from last week's game, so we don't see anything like that. We see more of them being aggressive, more going after players, as you mentioned, and playing a little bit more loose than what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you're saying. So I was going to say, we love Sterling Shepard coming out of Oklahoma when he was drafted. I wanted him bad. He's like a more athletic Humphreys. He's like really consistent what he does. He's a good slot, like shifty. Like it's hard to get him down in space. And I agree with you. He does scare me. It's almost like a little Cohen, but a little bigger. But in space, you got to get him down. The second he gets it, put him down. He's Odell Beckham terrifies me. But it's all literally like you were saying. I think the defense from last week, they didn't have the defensive quarterback, which is Quan. Like I think some of those times, like last year, Quan, he's like Winston. He'll get in your face and yell. Like he's not afraid to get in there and be like, listen, we need to stop this damn team. They're not better than us. And he's got that dog in you where he's not going to let you put your head down. And they didn't have that. Like Beckwith isn't doing that. Beckwith, he's doing his job, yeah, but he's not a loud, rah-rah guy. David's not that. McCoy's not that. Right. We didn't have our big guy to say, guys, get your asses up and let's stop these guys. Like, enough of this. Like, this is our house. We need to defend it. Like, that's why I really miss Quan being out there. Everyone thinks, like he's the best. I think David's still better than him because he's all-around player. But Quan just has that it factor that he's going to drive you to do better. And we really miss that. And that's one area where I'm thinking, like, it could be scary if we don't do good early. Because we could have that same effect of sunken heads and getting bad.
When you talk about this linebacker core, I know with the injuries that they suffered, I'm really hoping that everybody is healthy towards the back end of the season. I would rather see them heal from their injuries right now and be 100% going into the last part of the season. To me, that's the most important. I mean, you look at the game against Miami and all the games after that, and those divisional games are gonna be huge. Right. I think that Tampa, they need to have that mentality, next man up, and some of these players that we're not talking about really need to step up and they're NFL players, they're pro football players. They need to come in and make plays. And that's going to be important because some of these guys that we're not even talking about are going to have to make plays, somewhere along the line because of injuries or, situational football. They have to be able to make those plays.
And what Mark just said, that's why I think Jameis has to rise to the occasion and carry this team. I mean, he's got to put the offense on his back and just let things happen and get the ball into his playmakers. This offense has to pretty much carry the team because the defense is hurting. I mean, the offense is 100% healthy, so there's really no excuses for this offense not to put up points. And I think they need to take that initiative and really come out strong and try to get their team ahead quickly. Because I think if the defense is playing with a lead, they'll be much more comfortable, like most defenses are. But, like Mark said, if the defense is struggling, not having Quan in there to, get them fired up again and get that engine going, it could be. So I think Jameis needs to make sure he's up to the occasion and playing his best football, especially these next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And Bucs fans, what you have to consider too is when you see the look of this team, it's going to look different than the team you saw against the Vikings, because there were players who were out, and there are players that will be playing in the game, and they will be healthy. There will be some with nicks, but for the most part, you're going to see some players that you didn't see last week, a la Jacquez Smith, and you didn't see Chris Baker. Just having players like that in here are going to make a difference, and I think it's going to take a lot off of players like Gerald McCoy. And those are things those are some of my expectations for this team to take advantage of that stuff, because defensive coordinators, you can't game plan like you did last week for this team this week coming up, because you're looking at a totally different personnel versus what you saw last week. So I hope that Tampa can take advantage of that. The Giants don't have a running game. Their defense is pretty decent, but I do believe that they can be exposed, especially with their secondary. And there are opportunities for Tampa to get points and make plays, and they just have to go out and execute, like you guys said. This is Jameis Winston's team. He needs to own this team, and like you said, put him on your shoulder and let's go get a win.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yep.
All right. Well, I know you guys aren't going to believe this. I don't even believe this. It's been an hour already. We've just been talking about this team. I'm not going to ask you guys for scores. I don't want to do that anymore. Wins or losses, that's what matters right now. This, where the Buccaneers are now, they have this game against the Giants, and then you turn around and you have another game against the New England Patriots, and that's going to be a Thursday night game, I believe. Does this help them? Is this like a semi-bye week for them, playing on a Thursday, not having to play on a Sunday, and kind of putting themselves in a position for the following week? Is this a good thing for them at this point in the season?
I mean, it helps, but I mean, you got 2 games that you need to go out and win. I mean, you got home games that you got to take care of business. I'm tired of us, wasting home games. Those are games that you have to win. If you go undefeated at home, you only have to win 4 on the road, and you're in the playoffs. I mean, maybe only 2. So, you win your games at home. That's pretty much it. You got to go out and take care of business. But as far as a mini bye week, yeah, I mean, it helps. You'll have those 4 days off to recuperate, but the guys are going to go full go these next 2 weeks, and you got to make it happen.
All right. So, Mark, thank you so much for coming on, and tell the missus I drank her wine, but I got her next time I see her, next time I'm out that way. But I want to get your final thoughts on, what you see from the Bucs and, the potential for this game, and give me your keys to victory.
Keys to victory for on defense, get in Eli's face, just get through that Swiss cheese offensive line they have. Force. Key matchup, like you were saying, Sterling Shepard. Robert McClain played very, very bad this last game. His tackling was piss poor. He needs to do much, much better. I didn't bring it up earlier, but I just remembered. Him on Sterling Shepard, he needs to lock it down. Of course, getting the pass rush will rush that decision and kind of force bad throws, but it all starts with getting to Eli first. And on offense, take advantage of those linebackers. Use Brate and Howard a lot more than you have been, because stop looking deep and start getting the chunks. And I keep telling Mike, I love the Kansas City game last year. We won that game because we controlled the clock with our offense. We didn't let Kansas City get the ball. We chunk after chunk after chunk. It wasn't big gains. We had Evans and Brate. That was about it. And we won that game. Took advantage of their home field. We chunked Everton. It wasn't deep balls. So you can win that way.
It didn't help their cause that they were playing the tomahawk chop for Jameis Winston. That kind of worked against them. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, but it's true. Like, you can win games that way. That's how winners win. You take advantage of what they give you, and if they're going to give you those dump passes, win 5 yards every throw. Who cares? And you're just going to get you to the end zone. But, I mean, just take what the defense gives you, work Brayton Howard, and the deep ball will come in the second half, I believe.
All right, Michael Pless.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game, we got to have. I mean, you don't want to be 1-2 again. It's time for this team to get off to fast starts and really hit their stride. So I think, getting off to a fast start in this game is going to be very important. You're going to have a hungry Giants team. And I think, as far as the offensive side, just play smart football. I mean, like Marcus said, you got to be smart with your decisions and you can just take what the defense gives you. I mean, there's going to be options open pretty much every play. It's just up to Jameis to make sure he's hitting that guy and stay balanced. We got to have at least 20 rushing attempts. I don't want to see us at least 15 rushing attempts ever again. I mean, if you only have 9 attempts, I mean, that's just setting yourself up for failure. So, and then defensively, just stick to what you do best, and that's play aggressive. Don't hold back. Don't play cautious, because once you do, it's death. I mean, you got to play aggressive and play to the football. And I think those will be things to look for. And I think the Bucs will come out and play well. We got a sellout game, so I think the fans will be loud, and it should be pretty good.
Yeah. All right. And all great points. Again, and I have to reiterate, just what you guys were talking about. Jameis Winston, this is his game. This and how the Bucs roll is based on how Jameis Winston does. So Jameis Winston, he has to be that guy. I have such high expectations for him, and I know that he has it in him to go out and play those types of games. So, and it's just one of those things. I feel like, they can do this. Any game that Tampa is playing is a winnable game. You can't go in there thinking, oh, they're going to lose this game or whatever. So, that's kind of how I look at it. And, for me, it's important, again, for the defense to do what they do. We saw what they're capable of doing against Chicago, who in turn played a great game this past Sunday, had a great balanced running game, and you saw what they were capable of doing. So I realized that Tampa can win these games. So it's just one of those things that I'm excited for football season, and I know that these are games that Tampa can win. They just have to play as a team. They have to go out and execute. Dirk Cutter has to call a good game. Mike Smith, he has to call a good defensive game. So that's kind of what it comes down to. And, if they're not winning at halftime, go in and make adjustments to put themselves in a position to win. So that's something I'm really, I'm excited about. And I think that they will be able to do that. So, I've been trying to hit some of these questions on here. And thanks again for everybody in the live chat. I do appreciate you guys contributing to this. And, guys, I do want to start with you, Michael. What are some of the articles that you have coming up?
Yeah, I just put out one tonight, and then I'll probably have talking about the running game. You have to be balanced, and probably over the next couple of days I'll have more on as far as what we can take advantage as far as the Giants go. I think there's some good matchups for this game, especially with the tight ends, like Mark said, and really focus on that Giants offensive line. I think we need to really attack Eric Flowers. So I'll have some things up, with that, and Mark's going to have more game tape, and I'll put some game tape up as well. So it should be fun. It should be a fun weekend.
Yeah. And guys, anybody that's listening, please go out to @RealBucsTalk or realbucstalk.com and check out the content. I know that you have a lot of different places you can go, like FanRag or Pewter Report, but these guys right here, I'm going to put them above those different different outlets, only because not because they're on here, but because a lot of the stuff that they're not a lot, but the stuff that they print is accurate. It's not, oh well, I feel this way or I think this way. It's based on facts. They're putting out game film, and that's just kind of how it is.
All right, let me jump off what you're saying. Yeah, like we don't try and say what we feel. We're not fans that are just blurt out crap and think, oh, it's going to happen because we said it. Obviously, we're going to look at the tape. Like I love breaking down tape, like Mike says. Like I would sit in a damn room and just watch it all damn day. But I record it myself. I put it out there for you to see it, and then I tell you what's going on in each play and why we can take advantage of these weaknesses that the other team has. And we make it obvious that these are areas you need to attack. Everyone else is attacking them. That means you need to attack them. And like you can just see it black and white. The eye in the sky don't lie, right? So when you see it, attack it. So that's what we do, and that's what we talk about, and that's what you're going to read in all our articles.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. And, I love this, being able to talk football and just football. And I love that. And that's what it's all about for me. I waited all the off season, waited through the draft, OTAs, camp. Here we are, and we're talking about football, and I love it. And I really appreciate you guys, and hopefully I can get you guys on next week. We'll try to get another guest. Unfortunately, the guest kind of fell through for us this week, but we're going to try to redeem ourselves a little bit next week and come up with somebody to give us the opposing team's perspective. So look for that, and look for that, throughout the season. When we can get somebody on, we definitely will. Mark, as usual, you're at home, open invitation. Whenever you want to come on, just show up. You got the link. But anyway, that's pretty much it for me and my co-host Michael Pless and our special guest Mark. Thanks everybody for checking us out and participating in the chat. And go Bucs! And I'm expecting a win. That's my expectations. But anyway, that's it for us.